Imagine this. You're sitting alone in your room. It's 2 a.m. lights off. Your laptop glows in the dark. On the screen, a strange link. Not a normal website. Just a string of random letters and numbers. You click, the screen turns black. One line appears, "Welcome to the hidden web." Your heartbeat races. It feels like someone is watching you, but there's nobody in the room. Then the site loads, forums, chat rooms, marketplaces, selling things you'd never see on Google. Fake IDs, drugs, weapons, and whispers of even darker things. This is where the dark web begins. A hidden world, dangerous, mysterious, and almost impossible to forget once you've seen it. To understand it, you first need to know the 3 layers of the internet. The surface web, the deep web, and the dark web. The surface web is what you use every day. Google, YouTube, Facebook, news sites. It's just the tip of the iceberg. The deep web is bigger. It includes private databases, medical records, government files, banking systems. Things you can't find on Google, but they're still legal. Then comes the dark web, the part of the internet hidden on purpose. To access it, you need a special browser called Tor. Tor stands for the onion router. It works through layers of encryption. Every click bounces through multiple servers around the world. That makes it almost impossible to trace. Dark websites don't use .com or .net. They use .onion domains. You can't just Google them. You need direct links to access. At first, the dark web was created for good reasons. For journalists to talk safely. For activists living under strict governments. For people who needed privacy without surveillance. But over time, criminals discovered it too. And soon, illegal markets exploded. On these markets, you can buy almost anything. Drugs, guns, hacking services, stolen credit cards. Even fake passports and driver's licenses. Think of it as the black market of the internet. One of the most famous examples was Silk Road. It launched in 2011. It looked like a regular e-commerce site. But instead of clothes or electronics, it sold narcotics. Within 2 years, Silk Road became massive. Tens of thousands of buyers and sellers, millions of dollars worth of illegal trade. All paid through Bitcoin. In 2013, the FBI tracked it down. They arrested its founder, Ross Ulbricht. He was sentenced to life in prison. That takedown was one of the biggest operations against the dark web, but Silk Road was just the beginning. After it fell, dozens of copycat markets popped up. Some lasted months. Some vanished overnight, taking users' money with them. A never-ending cycle of crime, greed, and paranoia. And while markets are common, they're not the only thing hiding there. There are whistleblower platforms, secret communication channels, and forums discussing everything from conspiracy theories to cyber attacks. For some, the dark web is freedom. For others, it's a nightmare. But one thing is certain: once you step into it, you never see the internet the same way again. Inside the hidden web, the dark web isn't one single place. It's a maze. A giant underground city made of websites most people will never see. You don't just stumble into it. You need links. And those links are usually passed in private forums, hidden communities, or encrypted chats. Some links lead to nothing. Others open doors you wish you never touched. Once inside, everything feels different. Pages are slow, designs are outdated, but the content is shocking. You'll see marketplaces selling kilos of drugs, vendors advertising hacking tools, entire databases of stolen credit cards. One click deeper and you find fake passports, driver's licenses, even university diplomas. Everything has a price. And payment? Always cryptocurrency, mostly Bitcoin, because it's harder to trace. But not every corner is illegal. Some spaces exist for safety. Whistleblowers use it to share secrets without being exposed. Activists in censored countries use it to speak freely. Journalists use it to protect their sources. This dual identity is what makes the dark web so mysterious. It's both a shield and a weapon, but where it really grabs headlines is the crime. Take the infamous Alphabet. After Silk Road was shut down, Alphabet rose to power. It became the largest dark market in history. Drugs, weapons, hacking services worth hundreds of millions of dollars. In 2017, law enforcement from around the world worked together. They tracked the founder, Alexander Kazes, in Thailand. When police raided his home, they found luxury cars and millions in assets. Alphabet was destroyed, but the cycle continued. Another site called Hansa was secretly taken over by Dutch police. Instead of shutting it down right away, investigators ran it in the background. Every message, every order, every transaction logged. For weeks, criminals thought they were safe, but law enforcement was watching the entire time. That's the game of the dark web. A constant war. Markets rise. Markets fall. And no one can ever be sure who's really behind the screen. But markets aren't even the darkest part. The real fear comes from the stories, legends that spread like wildfire. The most infamous? Red rooms. People claim these are live-stream torture sessions. Viewers supposedly pay in Bitcoin to watch and even control what happens. It's one of the most disturbing rumors tied to the dark web. But here's the truth. There's no solid evidence red rooms exist. Experts call them myths. Urban legends created to scare and shock. Still, the idea terrifies people. And maybe that's the point, because the dark web feeds on mystery. The less you know, the more dangerous it feels. Another chilling story is the Cannibal Cafe. Back in the early 2000s, a forum popped up. It wasn't exactly on the dark web, but it became linked to it. There, users discussed cannibalism openly. It sounded like fantasy, but then a real case shocked Germany. A man named Armin May was posted on the forum. He was searching for someone willing to be eaten. Incredibly, he found a volunteer. And the crime that followed became one of the most disturbing in history. It proved that sometimes the darkest corners of the internet cross into the real world. Stories like these are why the dark web scares people, because it blurs the line between myth and reality. What's real, what's exaggerated, and what's waiting, unseen, just a few clicks away. For most, the mystery is enough to keep them away. But for the curious, the temptation is stronger. And once you enter, it's not easy to turn back. The dangers behind the screen, the dark web is built on secrecy, but secrecy always comes with danger. Every time you click a link, you're taking a risk. Because not every site is what it seems. Some are traps, some are scams, and some are run by law enforcement waiting to catch you. One of the biggest threats? Malware. Hackers upload fake marketplaces or chat rooms. The moment you enter, hidden code infects your device. It steals passwords, bank details, even takes control of your camera. That's why experts say the biggest danger on the dark web isn't what you find, it's what finds you. Then there are scams. Imagine paying thousands in Bitcoin for something illegal. But the seller disappears the moment you send money. No refunds. No protection. No way to complain. In fact, exit scams are common. A marketplace builds trust for months. Users spend millions. Then one night, the site vanishes, admins disappear with all the money, gone forever. But even if you escape scams, there's another risk: surveillance. Law enforcement agencies constantly monitor the dark web. They run undercover operations. They trace cryptocurrency transactions. They even set up fake sites to catch buyers and sellers. In 2019, the FBI and Europol took down a major operation called Welcome to Video. It was one of the largest child exploitation networks in history. Thousands of users were arrested across multiple countries. It proved that anonymity on the dark web isn't absolute. Another example is Operation Bayonet. Police secretly infiltrated Alphabet and Hansa. For weeks, users kept logging in, thinking they were safe. Every move was tracked. Every order documented. When the trap was finally revealed, thousands were exposed. For criminals, the dark web feels like a shield, but in reality, it's a ticking time bomb. And then there are the psychological dangers. Because the deeper you go, the darker it gets. People who wander too far describe forums filled with disturbing content, graphic images, illegal videos, discussions no sane person would ever want to read. It leaves scars. Some say they never sleep the same again after what they've seen. Curiosity can quickly turn into trauma. This is why experts warn the dark web isn't a place to explore out of boredom. It's not entertainment. It's not a game. It's a world that can consume you. But not all danger comes from outsiders. Sometimes the biggest threat is the community itself. On many forums, trust is everything. A new user asking the wrong question is instantly suspected. People get banned, threatened, or doxxed, meaning their real identity is exposed. And once your identity is out, the consequences can be severe: blackmail, extortion, harassment, or worse, because the dark web isn't just a place for criminals to hide. It's a battlefield of paranoia. Nobody fully trusts anyone, and betrayal is just one click away. For law enforcement, it's both a challenge and an opportunity. For users, it's constant fear. This combination of risk, secrecy, and crime is why the dark web feels like a living nightmare. A place where curiosity can cost you money, freedom, or even your life. But the biggest question still remains: why do people go there in the first place? The answer lies in temptation, and temptation is stronger than fear. Why people enter the dark web if the dark web is so dangerous? Why do people risk it? For some, it's greed. A chance to make money in ways they never could on the surface. Selling drugs, stolen data, or fake identities, the profits can be massive. And anonymity makes it tempting. For others, it's curiosity. They've heard the stories. They've seen the headlines. And they want to know if it's really that dark. But curiosity has a price. Once you step in, it's hard to unsee what's there, and sometimes curiosity turns into obsession. Then there are those seeking freedom. In countries where the internet is censored, the dark web feels like a safe space. It allows people to read news their government blocks. It lets activists share messages without fear of being jailed. For them, it's not crime, it's survival. Journalists also use it. Platforms like SecureDrip exist on the dark web. They give whistleblowers a safe way to leak sensitive documents. From government corruption to corporate scandals, many big stories began there. So the dark web isn't entirely evil. It's a double-edged sword, a tool that can protect or destroy. But what really keeps people talking are the myths. Red rooms, the idea of live torture streams where viewers pay to control the violence. Terrifying, but almost certainly fake. Experts believe red rooms are nothing more than urban legends. No verifiable evidence has ever been found, and yet the rumor refuses to die, because fear spreads faster than truth. Another myth is hitman services. Sites claim to offer professional killers for hire. Pay in Bitcoin and your problem disappears, but in reality, these sites are usually scams. People send money, but nothing happens. The so-called hitmen don't exist. Still, the possibility is enough to fuel nightmares. Then there are stories about human trafficking sites, pages claiming to auction off kidnapped victims. Most of these are hoaxes. Photos are often stolen from social media, but the thought alone horrifies people. This is how the dark web works: half reality, half nightmare. Some parts are true, others are lies. But when you can't tell the difference, the fear becomes real. Even the markets carry myths. People talk about secret elite clubs where billionaires gather. Exclusive sites hidden within hidden sites. Layers you can only access with the right invite. Are they real? Maybe not. And that's the point. Because the unknown is more powerful than the known. Every story makes the dark web feel deeper, darker, more twisted. Even if half the stories are fake, the mystery keeps people hooked. But for every myth, there's at least one shocking truth, like the Cannibal Cafe case in Germany, a forum that turned into a real crime. A man killed and ate another man who willingly agreed. It sounds like horror fiction, but it happened. Or the Silk Road, a simple online marketplace that grew into a billion-dollar empire. Busted by the FBI, its founder jailed for life, or Alphabet. Bigger than Silk Road, worth hundreds of millions, until law enforcement struck again. These are not myths. These are facts. And they prove the dark web isn't just scary stories. It's a place where fiction and reality overlap, where you never know if the next click will show you a hoax or something terrifyingly real. And that's why people keep coming back. The dark web feeds curiosity. It fuels greed. It offers freedom, and it whispers legends that never die. But the real question is, what happens when you stay too long in the dark? The war in the shadows, the dark web, isn't just criminals hiding in the dark. It's also a battlefield, a constant war between law enforcement and those who want to stay hidden. Every year, new markets rise. And every year, police agencies shut them down, but for every site destroyed, another one takes its place. It's a game of cat and mouse, and nobody really wins. Law enforcement has grown smarter. They use undercover agents. They track Bitcoin transactions through blockchain analysis. They run sting operations where they secretly control entire marketplaces. But criminals adapt too. They switch to new cryptocurrencies. They build private invitation-only markets. They develop stronger encryption to hide their tracks. The arms race never stops. And while most people think the dark web is untouchable, history proves otherwise. Silk Road collapsed. Alphabet collapsed. Hansa collapsed. Even massive networks like Welcome to Video eventually fell. Every takedown sends a message. No one is truly safe in the dark. But at the same time, the dark web itself cannot be destroyed. It's not one website. It's not one server. It's a network built on anonymity. Cut off one head and another grows back. That's what makes it both terrifying and fascinating. For ordinary people, the dark web is a warning. It shows the hidden side of human nature. The greed, the fear, the desperation for freedom. For governments, it's a challenge. How do you stop crime without destroying the right to privacy? Because not everyone on the dark web is a criminal. Some are fighting for their lives in countries with no freedom. Some are exposing corruption that would never see daylight otherwise. So the battle isn't just about crime. It's about control, it's about freedom, and it's about where the future of the internet is heading. Experts believe the dark web will only grow. Technology will make it stronger, more secure, and even harder to police. But myths will grow too. Red rooms, hitmen for hire, secret elite societies. Whether real or fake, the stories will always spread. Because mystery is what keeps the dark web alive in people's minds. And maybe that's the scariest part. Because the deeper you look, the more you realize the dark web is less about technology and more about us. It's a mirror, a reflection of the best and worst parts of humanity. People searching for freedom, people chasing greed, and people driven by their darkest desires. So if you ever find yourself tempted to click that link, to open that hidden door, to see what really lies beyond the surface, remember this. You might think you're just watching the dark web, but maybe in some corner someone is watching you. And once you've seen inside the dark never lets you go.